Mm-mm-mm. Trying to figure out how to go live here, people. The live creator has declined it. Hang on. Are we in trouble? All
Did
right,
we do it?
I think we did it.
Bam!
I think we did it, Matt. It's like old guys with computers. We're
I
gonna
know,
figure this
right? I've
out.
done about 7 streams so far of just technical difficulties with other creators, so I kind of
Yeah.
got it figured out, but we'll
Okay,
see.
good. Yeah, this looks good. You did it. Okay. I'm getting positive comments. So nice to meet you. We've never actually talked, but I watch your stuff all the time, so I'm really excited you reached out.
Yeah, same. And I had a bunch of my followers be like, "You have to do a live with them," and I'm like, "Heck yeah, any
Oh,
day of the
cool.
week, let's do it." So I reached out to you on that side, and no, it's good. It's good to
Yeah.
finally connect. Let's do it in a public way. Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, so yeah, like I think what might I mean, it would be interesting to me if nothing else. Like, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background? I'll do yours, and then maybe we can just sort of navigate through like what we're excited about, like what's going on, because it's like I feel like we're a year and a half into this Gen AI era, and it's like it's starting to morph. Like I feel like there's something shifting, so I'd love to hear where you are with it.
Yeah. So on my side, I did marketing for about 16 years, working with very large companies. I didn't like the marketing world; wasn't my place. So I exited out of my company on that side, and then conveniently, I was trying to make an AI version of myself back in GPT 2. It
Oh
wasn't
wow.
quite good enough for it because I'm like, maybe instead of doing marketing that I don't like, I can have AI do it for me because I'm like, oh, the decision tree makes sense, right?
Yeah,
So I exited, and I was kind of looking for my next thing, and then ChatGPT came out, and I'm like, okay, I didn't think we'd have this in our lifetime,
I know.
but it's definitely going to be soon at this rate, and it's getting accelerated every single day. So I went into the AI influencer side. I have 5 kids, so I wanted them to think I'm cool. So I decided to jump on TikTok and start doing videos. And
Yeah.
plus, I'd always ask myself the question, Matt, if you had $1 trillion after being a degenerate, having fun and everything, what would you do? And it was really kind of going to teaching people on
Oh,
that side. I
cool.
think that's where I find, that's my power on my end. So
Wow.
yeah, I just basically jumped into it. I thought, I was like 90 days. I'll do 90 videos in 90 days and see how I like it. And then now it's like a year and 3 months later, and here
So
I am.
crazy. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. 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 How's the have you do your kids think you're cool?
Yeah, they do. Well, the problem
Really?
is now they think they're too cool on that
Uh,
because I put them in a couple videos, and my one son, his video got 150K views on this like story one. So he's walking, he's strutting at school like he's the most famous guy out there. It's like, Dad,
I'm
give me an
TikTok
update. How
famous.
many views do I have now? And I'm like, it's been 3 minutes. It's about the same.
That's awesome. I've got 23-year-old twin boys, and they could not give two craps about AI or think that I'm cool. Although their friends are like, "Oh, that's he's got a lot of followers. That's pretty respectable." So I've got external validation, just not inside the house right now. Um,
Nice.
so my background is I'm a storyteller by training. I have a degree in acting. I've written 7 screenplays, and then in the mid '90s, I started one of the first internet agencies, a company called Agency.com. So I was in the agency world for a bunch of years, and I also right around the time we were starting agency.com, I had also started an early online magazine called Urban Desires, and I created a group called the World Wide Web Artist Consortium, which was essentially anyone in New York that was interested in web stuff. Like,
Hmm.
we got together every other week, and it was just a remarkable time in history because, the World Wide Web, everyone was trying to figure it out. When I started, we call it WAC. When I started WAC, the World Wide Web Artist Consortium, um, what my fantasy was that I'd bring smarter people than me into the room, which I did, and that they would
Hmm.
know more than me. And then what we all learned is that everyone was trying to figure it out. There were no experts, right? And it was like that for probably 2 or 3 or 4 years, where people were just trying to figure out what this thing was. And so I had a similar epiphany when ChatGPT came out. I had a similar sort of knock upside the head moment of like, holy crap, the world just changed and no one knows about it yet. So I immediately started the AI Salon. We had our first meeting of the AI Salon on December 7th, 2022. So a week after
Hmm.
ChatGPT came out, right? And I started a TikTok channel, and it was really just about, I think sort of how I'm describing it is learning out loud is going to be really important, and just demystifying this for as many people as possible as I'm learning. And so that was kind of the mission. So we have like a similar sort of impetus to get into this. But yeah, I think it's just having been through it with the web. I know that this AI stuff is way more profound, like way more impactful and moving way faster. So I'm just like hanging on for dear life and just trying to navigate, as the technology evolves.
Yeah, that's it, and it's evolving fast on like exponentially. Every week, I feel like I miss 7 potential videos. Now it's 14 potential. Now it's, it just keeps going on and on. Like the speed and how fast we're getting quality. Like when MidJourney first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is garbage," and I'm like, "Well,
It's,
this is
yeah,
this
but
is
we're on
version
the,
3. It's you wait till version 6, and we're on version 6 now, and it's like, okay, that's disrupting. Now let's look at video.
yeah.
Now let's look at the next thing. Like it's unbelievable
Did
the
you see? I,
speed that's
I,
getting
I didn't
good.
see if you did a video on it, but have you played with Deco Here's Stations?
I haven't played with I did Deco here a long time. They're a great company. They basically put everything in one. And I know you do a
Yeah.
lot of content. Those are some of the videos that I've watched that you've done on that side. It seems
Yeah.
like Deco here seems to be your favorite.
But I was into it for a
Hmm.
while, but then Stations came out. Do you know what
Hmm.
Stations is? Have you
No,
played
I
with it?
don't think I've checked it out yet.
So I didn't understand what the name was for it. So basically, if you just go to the Deco here main site and then you click on Explore, you just get a feed, right? Like a
Hmm.
normal AI Gen site. But you can click on any one of those images and you say create station, and their metaphor is like a radio station. So just like a radio station just plays music, this just generates images, and it does an image a second, just never ending. And then any image it generates, you can turn that into a station. And so for me, it's just like zero prompting, pure intuition, just like letting AI sort of do the work for you. It feels like a shift to me, like a technology that represents this is the world we're moving into, where you don't have to be nearly as intentional with how you use it and how you deploy it. That image generation as entertainment is just wild to experience.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Stable Audio did a similar thing too. They have a live YouTube channel where it's just all AI generated music 24/7 that
yeah.
you could
And,
listen to.
and imagine when it gets tied into like the sensors and things in the glasses we're wearing, where it kind of knows our emotion, and it's like, here, let me play you music or show you images that shift your state based on.
No, see, I've been thinking about that for a while. Even like if the future is AR, so basically,
Yeah,
you're it's detecting that you're depressed, and then everyone you look at it just deep fakes a smile on their face, and you're like, wow, everybody loves me. The world is a great place, even though everybody's frowning at you and everything else. But you're living in. It's making stuff more colorful.
hmm,
It's all painted nice, etc.
yeah.
But yeah, the whole real time generation is going to be a game changer. And we haven't even really, I guess we've seen it with this station, but we haven't really seen what the potential is going to be on that up. We're so early. It's
We're so early.
crazy.
Like when I look at Station from Deco here, what where my mind immediately goes is I swap out image generation with every other kind of multimodal image generation. And so imagine a system like that where you could you know fluidly navigate between, okay, turn that into a poem, oh, make that a song, oh, let's make that a video, oh, I want to see a bunch of images, like where you're just gonna I want to go into how would I start a business around this idea, and then out will come problem solving kind of stuff, and just our ability to kind of navigate knowledge space, as easily as you can just watch those images being generated. That's where I think we're heading, and it's like, what is that skill set? Like right now, and like people talk about, you got to learn prompt engineering and structured this and structured that. Well, what if you move into a world where it's about intuition and curation? And I think that's going to be an option that people have for how they interact with this stuff.
Yeah, and I think on my side, I've been doing a lot. I'm working with a company right now who wants to help people reach all their goals. And I think another like modal that we'll see on our side is we're dealing with a lot of stuff like image generators, everything is we're doing the input and waiting for an output where the proactive side really hasn't been cracked yet. Where you have
Right.
an AI like a C3PO that's
Yeah.
basically every morning being like, hey, Matt, don't forget you wanted to learn Mandarin.
Yeah.
And you said, you really want to achieve this goals, et cetera. And having that voice as well from the AI, when we start communicating it with that way, it's going to be nuts because even using ChatGPT with voice kind of
Yeah.
feels different. And when the AI starts talking to us, and then we have the curation on top of it. So it's like, Matt, you have this goal. So I put this lesson together for you.
Yep. Yep.
It
Yeah.
gave you that inspiration on that side and it knows how to motivate you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm experimenting right now. I'm part of a group called Content Evolution. I'm the chief generative officer there. I think I'm the world's first chief generative officer. But what we built it's a group of marketing organizations, and so the kind of co-market for one another, and it's people that are just very accomplished, have written books, things like that. And so we created a group within it, an AI kind of skunk works called Content Evolution Collab, and we've created digital twins of all of the members of Collab. And so we now have GPTs. We created a structured interview where we interviewed people, sort of on who they are, what's their life view, what do they think about the future, how do they solve problems, what have they done for work, and now we have a GPT for each one of us, and so where we're shifting right now is okay, we have these digital twins. What do we do with them? How do we interact
Mhm.
with them? What are other people going to interact with them? And then as the capabilities come along where you can add video to that and audio to that and all this other stuff, that idea of kind of exploring, you know, designing how you're going to be represented, whether it's the metaverse or in knowledge space or anything like that, is just bonkers. Like it's just crazy.
No, it's absolutely nuts. And then you wonder if you have your own GPT, like the Matt subconscious to some extent. You have your own kind of subconscious where you're talking to yourself and making sure you're aligning even with yourself too at the same time. Like there's so many levels to it and it's like the craziest part about this industry and even just trying to build anything alongside of it is there's nothing really been done in this space yet. So it's
Mhm.
just like, okay, we have all these GPTs. Now what's the use case for it? How can we apply it? And
Yep.
like, okay, we could generate perfect images now. What can we do with that? Now with video and audio. It's nuts.
I know, I know, and that's I don't know. Like I don't know where you are. Like I there's a weird malaise right now in the industry for me, and it might just be for me, but I feel like a lot of the other large language models have caught up to GPT-4, right? So we have five
Hmm.
or six now that are sort of hovering around GPT-4. And then we're all waiting for Sam to drop GPT-5, right? Which we assume is going to be way up here. And so like I'm in this place where I'm like I don't really know which large language model to put any time into because they're all kind of it's kind of like computers are kind of good enough now. I feel like large language models are all kind of relatively at the same capability, and some are a little better than others, but they're all basically good. But I feel like we're in this sort of moment of pause before shit's about to hit the fan.
No, I definitely agree with you because I actually have an agency, so I do like implementations for business and stuff.
Ah,
And I think it's really like a lot of the capabilities are already there to do so much. Let's say for example, it never increases. We never get anything past GPT-4. With what we have with GPT-4, you can almost build everything. Like there's not much it's missing. Like maybe on the math side and like the truly planning, like planning and math is what they're truly trying to crack on this end. But
yeah.
I feel like it's more going to be the tools and applications and everything else. And you almost see it like it's really interesting. Like Microsoft released Copilot, and it's pretty much ChatGPT, but nobody really uses it because
Right.
it's you're more using the application of it of like ChatGPT. I have both, and I never use Copilot. I go to ChatGPT and I use it there,
Yeah.
where it's like the applications are really going to push the next part of it of just like okay because that's the unknown right now. It's like how are we going to use this application, this technology, like where does it
Mhm.
actually fit in? And even at the rate of technology that's increasing, some people are almost like holding back a little bit because they're like I don't want to do that because agents are coming out and then agents are going to take care of
Yeah.
this and then it's the question of what are agents going to do. And are
Yeah,
they
yeah,
going to be
exactly.
good? Is that the
Yeah.
way going forward?
Do you follow Ethan Mollick?
I don't believe so.
Okay, you should follow him. He's a Wharton Business School professor. He wrote an article like a month ago. I forget the exact title. I think it was the tyranny of the weight calculation or something like that. And it's basically, if you were to get in a rocket today and travel to our nearest star, it would take you 20,000 years. But if you wait for 100 years, it'll only take you 50 years. Right? But in that 100 years of waiting, you've missed all this opportunity. And he said it's the exact same with AI right now, that you shouldn't be waiting because as you wait, there's all this opportunity for what these tools do right now that's like truly remarkable and mind bending. Like one of the things that I just keep having this palpable sense of feeling like, either we're living in a post sci-fi world where all the sci-fi movies of our past are becoming documentaries. So like, oh yeah, we can do that now, or it's just like we're living in, some weird sci-fi movie where we're starting to have these increasing capabilities, and it's totally surreal.
No, it's crazy, and they even think with this new AI technology, we're going to increase lifespans, and they think by 2030 we could potentially get significant, like a 200 to 300 year increase on lifespan, which will
Yeah,
give us 200 to 300 years to figure out how to make it 1,000. And like to some extent, it's like,
exactly.
we could be the oldest people in the world for a long time if this
Exactly.
technology goes the way that everybody thinks it's going right now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, like it redefines OG, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We'll be the old
The
timers, you
old
know.
OG, old
Yeah.
old guard. Yeah, how many O's do you have in front of your G?
No, exactly. That's
That's hilarious.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, no, it's good, man. There's so many tools being released all the time. It's hard to even keep up with them. It seems like and then it's also separating who's the cherry pickers, like who's releasing technology where it's like, no, it's not actually like that, and the other ones that are like, okay, this is actually, they're showing us real use case. It's kind of like how Devon came out. I'm not sure if you followed Devon, and then
Yeah,
it turned
yeah.
out.
Devon, where it's but they just raised a ton of money. But yeah, it's a 6-month-old company with no technology, but they had a good demo reel. I'm feeling similar. I'm in a bit of a pet peeve with a lot of companies right now, where like Sora was announced, and then it's like no clarity on when it's going to be out. Right? They just had to
Mhm.
get something out there. Um, we just saw a similar video model from China.
Yeah,
Um,
Vidu.
yeah, Vidu. There was emo from someone else was announced. Devon was one of those. There's a bunch of these where they're putting out slick videos, but then it's like, crickets on when we're going to see it. And it's like, just launch the shit, because there's plenty for us to play with. We don't need to know that, yeah, something cool's coming. Because it's, I think Google was the first one where their Gemini Ultra, thing, which they got a lot of shit for, but like I want to play with some of those tools that they showed, like the dynamic interfaces that were being generated, and it's like, they showed them, but just now it's crickets, and we're just waiting, and it's like, just give us access to stuff.
No, that's it. It's all they're trying to pump up stocks or something like that, but there's so many of those that are coming out right now. One of the ones that I was surprised, and I saw you did a video on it, LTX Studio. I got
Yeah,
access to it.
yeah,
It's
me
actually
too.
really good.
Yeah, it's surprisingly good. I mean, what's fascinating about it, Matt, is that if you look at what they're doing technically, they're early on. There were a lot of people were talking about, oh, wrapper apps are kind of a waste of time, where you're sort of putting a pre-prompted app together that's just using ChatGPT as the back end. And that's what LTX Studio is, to a large degree, is just a whole series of prompts, very well structured.
Hmm.
But it's very well structured. Like I look at LTX as kind of a prototype for the kinds of sophisticated agents where we're going to have, where if you swap out storytelling and filmmaking for project management or for code development or for consulting, and you have a similar kind of tool as LTX, where you have deep subject matter experts putting these systems together, we're going to have incredibly sophisticated tools that can just you literally give it a prompt, and then it just goes off, and it's a chain of events, one after another, in a specific domain. I think that's going to be incredibly powerful. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm impressed with it. And one of the things I say on my channel a lot is embrace the jank. Like it's janky. They're using a
Yeah.
crappy stable diffusion image generator, right? And a crappy animation tool or video tool, but it's pretty damn good for the sort of low level tech that's in it right now.
No, I agree. It is. I felt like it was a mix of all like, okay, here's this face swap technology where you're able to
Right.
put your own face in it. The voice is okay, but yeah, you're completely right. It's just like and it's almost how it's like chained together. They're just chaining all these technologies together, making like
Yep.
some kind of a pipeline, and that pipeline creates something that's quite good in the end. And it's
Yeah.
also, I also like to give these apps a lot of credit, even if it's not the best. It's not. I'm not looking at what it is now, but I'm like, okay, what is it in two
Yeah.
generations from now, 3 generations, where it may not be perfect at this point, and I'm fine with that. I'll give
I,
them a good
I
review regardless for that.
I'm so there. I don't know if you've gotten yours yet or if you've ordered one, but the rabbit is getting all this hate where people are like it's a grift and it doesn't wash my clothes for me and I hate it. Meh, meh, meh.
Yeah.
And it's like no, it's like it's a beautifully well designed product with like cool nostalgia and a walkie-talkie button and the software's crap right now, but it's like you're old enough to remember. Remember when the iPhone first came out and they talked about these things called apps, but they weren't really
Yeah.
apps. They were just shitty websites. And it's like that's at the stage this is at, right? Where like the software
Hmm.
right now is a little weak, but it's like what I give them huge credit for is at least they're trying, right? They're envisioning a future where literally a single button can give you access to all of the technology and knowledge of the world, right? That's the sort of promise of AI is it becomes this simplification layer. And to me, this represents kind of the first tangible product of someone thinking like that. And so I give this a lot of grace. And it's way better constructed and built than I thought it would be. Like it's good.
Yeah, no, and I like the price point. They really went at a
Yeah,
reasonable price point, two hundred
yeah.
dollars. I didn't get one just because I'm in Canada, so there's some
Uh,
nightmares of the converting over there. So that's the only reason why I'd love
yeah,
to try one. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm the same way where it's like you're looking at the potential of it, not the current state. Because of course, even agents aren't the best right now, only because they don't have tools. So like agents can do stuff, and all the demos are the same. Look up the financial information of Nvidia versus Adobe and chart it over the last 5 years, blah. And it's like, yeah, I could do that, but the thing is, it's only because it's got that tools. So like, on my side, I'm working on just creating tools for the agent
Oh,
right
that's
now
cool.
because
That's
that
smart.
completely changes how
Yeah,
they work. So on the marketing side, I made a tool to basically extract like from the Facebook ad library. So now I could have an agent do a smart competitor research for stuff like that. So I think it's like they're more it's so early technology, and it's same with Rabbit. They don't have a lot of the apps aren't released yet because they don't have the tools made for it yet. And the tools
yeah,
are just basically being like, all right, the LLM can now work with this because it can't all these agents, they don't work with Google Docs or any of the really important stuff that
right.
you actually need to get stuff done.
Yep.
But once they do, that's when it's going to be absolutely amazing. And where I joke, I'm like, we're about 1,000 tools away from it being good, but 1,000 tools isn't that much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because there, 10 are coming out a day, so it's not taking us that long. Yeah, no, yeah, the agent thing's going to be really interesting. When ChatGPT has reasoning, there was that the little kerfuffle last week with GPT-2 chatbot that
Yeah.
right, the ChatGPT-2 chatbot. Um, I heard a rumor. I don't know if you heard this that OpenAI is launching a search engine next Thursday.
Yes, on the 9th. So
Yeah.
that seems to be more legit than the GPT-2 chatbot. That's
Yeah.
just kind of unknown, and it's amazing how fast I didn't report on it just because I'm like, how will
Yeah.
this
No,
video age? Potentially not the best. Is
exactly.
it worth the effort? I tried it out, so it's better than other LLMs at most things, and it's not. And everyone was disappointed, like, oh, it's just a little bit better than GPT-4, but I don't think GPT-5. That's where we're going to see the gains. I think it's more the software suite. They're just going to be embedding agents inside of it to some
Yeah.
extent. So instead of like, you can make GPT 3.5 outperform GPT 4 by using an Agenic framework for it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just because the whole sequence is anytime, and I tried to do it once. I made some seating chart creator where there's an event had 150 people, and if you try to do it at the beginning, you give it a list and you're like, make me a seating chart. There's too much reasoning built in, so it's like for every step of reasoning you build into a prompt, you're getting significantly lower results on it.
Right.
So
Oh
we
yeah.
basically created like a lang chain where we do it sequentially, where it's like, okay, here's the list of people, create one table. So we'd
Yeah,
create
that's
one
good.
table,
Yeah.
then we'd remove the name from the list, and then it'd be like
Nice.
create table two and tell us why. So I think just adding that additional technology will be the reason why GPT-5. So I think they're just going to release like a GPT 4.5 equivalent. It'll be slightly better,
Yeah.
but when they add the agent on top of it, I think that's when we're going to see. That's when it's going to blow our mind. Like, what, it could do that, when really, realistically, it's just kind of the pipeline that it's similar to what LTX created. They're just
Yeah.
creating a better pipeline of prompts on
Yeah.
that side to query the model.
Yeah, yeah. The one chat TMZ speculation that I heard about that was that it was GPT-2, but they had added Q star to it, and that's what got it to GPT-4 level
Oh,
and stuff. So if that's actually the case, then it's really interesting. But it's exactly what you said, that if they add reasoning to even a less powerful core model, then all of a sudden it gets way better. That's essentially what you were just talking about. So that's my fantasy right now, is that that's what that thing was. So but we'll see.
yeah. I just, at this point, I'm like, I just want them to release it. I don't care what comes with it.
Yeah,
Is it going to be good, bad, etc.? It's like, let's see what the new one is, and then we could get tokens a bit cheaper on GPT-4. That would
yeah,
be
yeah,
nice,
maybe it
because
goes
now
through.
Llama 3, you could use it free through like with Grok, and it's super high speed. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, do I move everything over on this
yeah,
side? Like, I'm running all my agents with Grok because Llama 3 is good enough for most of it. It's just
yeah.
like it's commoditizing these LLMs, and I can't believe Meta Zuckerberg going through and doing that. They talked about it on the All In podcast of,
Mhm.
it's basically when you're behind in a technology, you open source it. So Meta was number one at Facebook, and they locked their API, and nobody could get access to it. And now they're behind in AI, so they're like, all right, let's open source it, and they already have it up to 1 million tokens. There's a
I know.
project right now that has 1 million tokens
Yeah,
with needle in a haystack scoring all the way up to like 900k tokens. Perfect attribution on all of that. So it's like crazy.
it's just amazing. It really is. Yeah. I don't. It's funny. Early on, when ChatGPT first came out, Altman was talking about. He believes in releasing often, but kind of delaying putting things out there, because I forget how he exactly phrased it. Basically, people need to prep for what's coming. Like, they need to understand what's coming. And so trickling out the features a little bit at a time. And maybe this is a justification for announcing Sora, but not really having it out in the world, is I don't know if you heard the Tyler Perry, when he saw Sora, he canceled an $800 million studio expansion project for his film studio in Atlanta. $800 million construction project. He looked at that tech and just went, nope, not going to do it. So I think there really is something to putting some new thing out there that really will change the game. Let people assimilate it a little bit and get used to it a little bit, and then do the next one. Because it really could be completely disruptive if you just sort of go from nothing to just, it can do everything. Like, I don't even, like, people don't know how to even think about basic Chat GPT right now, much less multimodal Chat GPT 4, right? Like, it's like that jump is massive, and it's taken us a year to kind of get our head around how we even deal with that. So I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I agree with that.
similarly
It takes
anxious.
time.
Yeah.
It takes time for people to adjust, and even the tools to be made for it, because it's like we haven't even, if they did GPT-5 6 months ago and we're on GPT-6, it'd be so far behind what we're even able to use it for. And yeah, they're the rapper killers too at the same time. So I think they're being a little bit wary of that, because I think they're just going to try to kill everybody at some point. He pretty much said, it's like, yeah, it may happen, and it's like, yeah, it's definitely going to happen because you see they have an audio product that's coming out soon. On that side, they have all this stuff, and I'm just like, okay. And then Sora, I had a bunch of video companies reach out to me. They're like, oh yeah, we do a video together, etc. Sora launched, and they all canceled at the same time. They're like, well, we give up. Delete them. We're done. It's over.
Well, the thing that was most exciting to me about Sora is the approach that the very first sentence of the announcement of Sora was that Sora is a system that understands and simulates the real world. It's not a video tool, right?
No.
It's a video tool that understands. Oops, I just spilled a drink. It's a video tool that understands physics, right? And you're like, oh shit, like that's
Yeah.
just a completely different conversation.
Well, it's like Udio, the AI song creator that came
I,
out.
I
It
made
turns
such a
out,
killer song last night on my live. It was so much fun.
yeah, no, I love that one, but it's not a music generator. It's a sound generator. They were
Yeah.
able to make it create stand-up comedy, and
Yep.
they're also able to make it generate sounds too at the same time. So it doesn't just understand music. It's
Yep.
an entire sound generator. And even how these LLMs work is amazing. Just how it's like, oh, we fed it more data and now it knows physics. And then we fed it more data and now it understands reasoning. And then a bit more data. And they never know when these points are going to come. They're just like, huh,
Yeah.
look at that. It
Yeah.
understands that now.
Oh, it understands something we didn't teach it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's with the if it, with HeyGen's, my company Storyvine's a video storytelling thing, and I've been playing around a lot with HeyGen's translation tools. And
Mhm.
it's like, as humans, as a human who speaks English, I can look at Spanish, and Spanish is easier for me to understand than, say, Mandarin Chinese, because it's just a
Mhm.
completely different thing. But to the machine learning models, it doesn't. It's just as easy for it to learn Mandarin as it is to learn Spanish, and that's just mind blowing. That, like, to your point, you just dump different data in it, it learns it, and now you've got access to that, and that's just I that's the thing that I think changes everything, right? That it used to be, if you wanted to get good at something, you needed to go back to school, or you needed to put your 10,000 hours in, as Malcolm
Mhm.
Gladwell would say. And now you can just have access to it, or that's where we're headed. And that to me is just
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And then there's the whole AGI conversation, which I find it's hard to get the full definition of that. Like that's where people really struggle
yeah,
because a lot of what people talk about is ASI, and that's almost what I consider an AGI. It's like
right,
when is AI better than the best at every single subject? And
right,
I feel like we're not that far away from it because at that point, that's when you can use AI to train and make AI better. And that's
yeah,
when we hit the flywheel. The flywheel is like as soon as we hit that point, and that's where Q Star got a little bit crazy, where it
I
was
know,
rumored like, oh, it made its own type of math that's better than ours. And I'm like, well, that's actually believable.
yeah,
But it's like how far are we from that? And it's kind of yeah, the last 5-10% may be the hardest part. And we may be at 90%, but that 10% is going to take us years. But as soon as we get to that point where AI is able to train AI better than we are, that's when it's able to do it 3,000 times an hour. And then
yeah.
that's when we go into Skynet or AGI or whatever the next step is, the unknown.
There's also a lot of conversation about semantics, and they kind of drive me crazy. Like, first thing I thought when I played with ChatGPT was, oh, the Turing test has been solved. Like, I immediately went to the
Mhm.
Turing test has been solved, and then there were like months of people going, well, the real Turing test, you have to interact with it for 5 hours, and like they're sort of moving the goalposts, right? And I feel like AGI is similar, where I guess AGI is better than the median human at most jobs, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? And I'm like, well, ChatGPT already knows significantly more than I ever will, like by thousands. Like it's already way past where I am, in my opinion. Now, can it actually execute my job and have judgment and reasoning? Okay, it doesn't have that piece, right? But
Hmm.
just in terms of access to knowledge, it is significantly beyond me. So now you add in a reasoning and logic layer to that, and yeah, it's absolutely miles beyond what I'm ever going to be capable of doing. But we all have access to it. So that's again the thing I get really excited about is, yes, it can do that, but we get to direct those tools, right? And that's where, that's the
For
thing I'm
now at
super
least.
excited about. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
No, it's no, I completely agree where it's like because that's what they say. It's like the 50% median, and I'm kind of like, well, I feel like it's beyond that, and that's the whole like. And one downside of humans is we'll never agree on anything, to any extent, and that's why it's like we don't have these definitions, and we'll be long into ASI and like singularity before even humans can figure it out. I'm a pretty big optimist in general for all this technology and everything. So everybody's always saying like, oh, AI is going to create all these problems, and I kind of think if we make a super intelligence, that it has a good shot at being smart enough to solve its own problems that it creates. It would kind of beyond that, and that's one thing that humans have never been the best at. Like we got intelligence locked down pretty good, solving our problems. Of course, we have solved quite a bit of them, but for it to just do like a clean sweep and be like, okay,
Yeah.
all the problems are solved.
Yeah, yeah, let's go fix it. Yeah, no, I'm an optimist as well. I feel like it's, if you look at history, every single technology that's been significant has been met with resistance and riots and violence. The printing press, the steam engine, the flippin' loom. There were riots over the loom, right?
Yeah.
So every single technology. So it's not surprising to me. We also have 50 years of Hollywood telling us the robots are going to kill us, right? So I think there's a natural fear. Plus, there's just that fear of a new technology. But what I'm experiencing in the AI Salon and in the AI Learning Lab is the the fear that people have almost always, like with very few exceptions, is people that haven't tried it. And what I am
Hmm.
experiencing is that the minute people try it, they're kind of reintroduced to their humanity and like what they can do now with these new tools. And I'm just watching people reinvent themselves and rediscover their passions and start businesses, and it's absolutely flipping inspiring, right? For people that actually try it. And so that's like my mission is just similar to yours, like just learn about this stuff, try this stuff, get curious about it, because the minute you get in touch with this thing, it's just like boom, this world opens up and it's remarkable.
No, it is. And I think there's a lot of fear. And I talk to a lot of artists about it and everything else. I truly view it as a tool of leverage. And like someone who's very artistic will always beat me in AI image generation if we were
Yep.
to go head to head because they know what good art is and I
Yep.
don't. And same with music generation and even from the marketing side, copywriting. You can't write copy with the best large language model if you don't know what good marketing copy is. You have to have the base knowledge. So just you have to view it as a tool of, okay, I've got knowledgeable in this field, and now I have this tool that can make me 100 times more productive on
Yep.
that side and create 100 times more pieces of art, or even just as an artist train a model on all of their art, and then in the future everybody's going to be able to use your generator or your image model to
Yep.
create more versions of your art that are customized to them. Like it's truly a leverage thing and not just something where it's like, okay, well, my career's dead. It's like, no, you just got some more time on the beach because now you don't have to sit there in MS Paint just going away being like, well, is this good, etc. It's like, and I have a rule: if any task takes me over 5 minutes, I try to find a way to have AI replace that or automate it or
Yeah,
do anything on that end. So I'm extremely optimistic on that side where, and it's going to be a long time before someone with no knowledge of art is able to go in there and beat a true artist at AI image generation. Like they do have the advantage. I look at some of my generations versus like the community feed and I'm like, wow, these guys are amazing. Like this is
yeah.
unbelievable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm really hopeful about it. What are the things that you think, what are the things coming up that you're excited about? Is there anything that you're on pins and needles about? Is it all GPT-5 for you? Like what's the stuff that you know, you're
I,
impatient for?
I think the video stuff, especially even just helping. I learned video editing myself, and I'm not a good video editor.
Yeah.
So just more tools that are going to actually help with that. Adobe has their new stuff where you can put generative inside of it. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely just the AI video generation, getting that to the point of, say, MidJourney and everything else. Once we truly figure out text and AI generators, like ideogram is a massive leap for it, but it's still, for any kind of complex text, you're looking at maybe two of the four images are correct for it, and there's limitations on that side. So that's pretty interesting. The song stuff is really cool too. I know a company, they're called Sun Auto, they're YC Combinator.
Hmm.
I found a two-person team. They made it. Most of these song generators are they're actually using language models,
Uh,
but he's using a diffusion model, which actually is going to let you go in and prompt edit the entire song after it's been created. So
wow.
just because, like, instead of, Udio, you have very limited edits that you can do. Of course, you can do the lyrics and stuff, but you're like, hey, I want a trombone here and like
Right.
drum solo, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but just like expansion of these technologies on top of it too, because I also, I see it for my kids. My oldest just turned 10,
Mm.
and I got five of them, so it's just even seeing how they're using these tools and giving them the capabilities to do stuff like create their own stories and videos, and seeing them do so. Just more and more of that coming to the consumer level at reasonable prices. I still think some of it's a little bit expensive. My AI bills can get a bit expensive, but yeah, other than like GPT-5, it's good to see all that stuff come out. But I think really I'm excited about just the different modals, and like I said, the proactive chatbot. I think when somebody nails that, Inflection tried to do it, and
Yeah.
like it's still good, and you're still kind of talking to it. But where we have our true either second brain or our robot assistant or anything like that, and then of course I'm all in humanoid robots. I just started doing videos on
Oh,
those because I
yeah.
want one. I'm like, sponsor me, send me a robot. I don't want to ever do the dishes again, cook, clean. Well, I can give that to robots. That's fine.
That's awesome. We on my live a month or two ago, we were talking about the robots, and we actually came up with, I've written screenplays, so I'm always sort of thinking stories, and we came up with a movie idea, um, that four different people are given early versions of humanoid robots. They win it like in a grocery store contest that's in the
Mm.
town of the robot manufacturer, and then it's all the wacky hijinks with the 1.0 version of the in-home robot, right? Where, the minute the people leave, the robots kind of go nuts. Things like that, you know.
No, I think like that's a whole nother. And even on the medical side, I'm really excited
Yeah.
to see just more medical breakthroughs and everything. I think that's going to help shine a good light on AI and what they're doing with even stuff like, because we have ASI and stuff like AlphaFold, or the chess and etc. Like we're at that top beyond humans in a bunch of those fields, but they've been very closed doors, very specific. Like Google DeepMind basically takes care of all of that stuff, and I'm really excited for some of that. Even just the fact that they're able to generate all these new materials on their end, where it's like, oh, we had 13 before, but we found 87 new ones that could potentially change all of humanity within a short period of time.
It was 380,000 new stable crystals they found. And humans up to that point had discovered 22,000, and then using
Mhm.
computers had found another 44,000. So like humans and computers up to that point, it was like 66,000, right? And then overnight, here's 380,000 stable crystals. Like, I mean, like the implications and impact of that, we probably won't know for 5 or 10 years. But holy crap, right? Like, because in there is a battery that charges in 30 seconds that lasts for a day, right? In
Mhm.
that is, easy electricity transmission. All the sort of stuff is probably sitting in one of those crystals that we have yet to sort of bring to the world. It's just staggering.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like those are really going to be some of the big ones. Of course, on the tool side, I'll take anything I could get. Give me
Yeah.
even a better version of MidJourney. I'm happy. I'm excited for the release of that. It's interesting to see large companies like Adobe fall kind of behind in it just because of how they're trying to do it. With Premiere was kind of their first admit of defeat. So with
Mhm.
Premiere, how they're like, we're going to integrate Runway ML and Pika and Sora to it. It's like, okay, it's good to see on that side, because the new Firefly, I tested it out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully Adobe's not listening, but it wasn't good.
Yeah. No,
But they have
I
the
got
users.
So I'll tell you a funny thing about Firefly that you can try. So you have a go-to prompt, your spaceman, guy
Yeah,
going around.
yeah, yeah.
My go-to prompt is a 70s muscle car in an abandoned factory with sunlight streaming through the windows. Firefly, because it was trained on public domain images, it doesn't know what a 70s muscle car is. So when you do it, it's like a 1962 like sedan. They're horrible. So that's my test for Adobe is, when it recognizes 70s muscle cars, then I'll know it's made a leap. But even version 3 can't do 70s muscle cars. It's really funny.
No, I think they're all using the NVIDIA one. iStock had the same thing. So NVIDIA has one where it uses like a layering technology, and you can tell they're just cutting out one version. Like
Uh,
they're getting all these, like, say, lions. They cut them all out, and they're almost just like putting like glue stick out and squishing them all.
that's
So they're
bad.
squishing them all together on that side. So they're trying to be like, oh, we have all this training data, and they're just training it in a really weird way and just using stuff that's not competitive. But even just seeing the open market significantly outperform these corporations,
Yeah.
that's a good thing to see.
That's a good thing to see. Well, going back to the Rabbit R1, it's like when I really took in what that device was, I'm like, that should have been something that Apple disrupted the industry with, right? But it wasn't. Apple's kind of fat and happy and just sitting on their laurels. And like, where's Apple, by the way? I'm waiting for. I guess Worldwide Developer Conference we'll see something, but they are visibly late to the party.
No, they're gonna try. So Apple's always late on
I
technology.
know.
Even smartphones, like we had because I remember back in the day, I wanted one of those Windows phones or the Palm phones or everything else, where they're probably going to come in late. But I could see it. They're trying to train their own models, and they released a paper saying that, oh, it's this 30 billion model is better than GPT-4, and I was like, yeah, right. Maybe maybe from your testing, but they're definitely behind in it. Even like Samsung's not doing the best job. They're just, I don't think it makes sense. They're hardware companies, their software. They're not really made for this big Gen AI boom on this side. But yeah, they're significantly late at this point.
Yeah.
Like some people tried to say that, oh, they had AI first. It was Siri, and I'm like, I don't know about
Have
that.
you flipping used Siri? It's horrible.
Yeah,
I think
no.
they should flush that brand down the toilet and start over, quite honestly, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see with it. And same with like Alexa and Google and everything else. But no, I honestly think they'll probably partner with OpenAI. The thing is, they have enough capital where they could even like acquire. Well, not after Microsoft did what they did. Microsoft took the most interesting out of all the tech companies. Like Google's really just sitting on it. And they're not sitting on their hands. They're releasing some good stuff. But considering they made the Transformer model. Like
Yeah.
they basically started it to some extent, and to see them so far behind, it's like, it's an interesting thing I see on large platforms where they're having issues where, so I've talked to a lot of just software companies, learning companies, etc. So this one was telling me about it, and it made total sense because we made a custom tool to go into it to be like a coaching co-pilot and help people complete the course and everything else. And they're like, yeah, Matt, the biggest problem with it is we don't just have coaches on here. We have tutorials on how to install a washer and dryer. So it's like any AI solution they create has to go across their entire product suite. So that's why you see with these big companies, they're basically hands tied behind their back because they can't just do something niche really well. They have to make a broad AI that goes across everybody, and it usually just doesn't work that well. It's not trained right for it.
Yep. Well, Google also had the disadvantage of effectively having a monopoly. They didn't have to innovate, and unlike Microsoft, Google doesn't have a software business to fall back on, right? They're
Mm,
all advertising and search advertising, right? That's what is it, 70% of their revenue or higher, 77, something like that.
yeah.
So okay, you invent a thing that if you take it to its logical conclusion is going to just answer someone's question rather than give them a list of links. Well, their whole business is based on giving you 40 links and getting you to click on 30 of them, right? They're not in the business to actually getting you the answer. They're in the business of getting you to engage with other people's content. And that's 1000% at odds with what ChatGPT does, right? Like it's like, so that's a rough thing. You just disappeared.
Yeah, my camera overheated. One sec.
Oh, that's really
It's
funny.
it's only good for it's only good for like 50 minutes, and then
That's
I just got
hilarious.
to turn my fan around. It'll come back. Wait for it.
Yeah.
I'll just
But
have to be smaller for a second.
that's
Yeah,
really funny.
I'm AI. You caught me.
Yeah, right. That's good. Um, yeah, but what here's the other thing about Google that the thing that they absolutely have is they've got the smarts, right? They've got the engineers that can do remarkable technology and can produce remarkable technical results. Unlike Apple, they don't have the humanity side of the house, right? Apple's always been a balance of the art and the science, right? Google went all in on it's all engineers. In fact, they took it to the extent that they fired all their managers and just said, it's all engineers. It's all about engineering. And what we're interacting with are large language models, right? We're interacting with humanities, and so I think they've got a really distinct disadvantage to how do you create tools that really require a lot of that, you know, human component. Where I think Apple should be really good at this once they get it rolling. They should be pretty good at this. I don't know that I think Google's going to struggle with that for some time.
No, I agree. It's they have some advantage where they have like a business suite that they could really help with it, but it's just interesting to see how they're kind of going about it, because I think they got a little bit cocky too with Gemini, where they stopped worrying so much because they released the whole that internal memo that released we have no moat, and then after that they got cocky. They're like, okay,
Oh, we
you
got a
know,
moat.
we got this figured out. We got 1 million tokens.
Yeah.
This is our moat. It's like we have better TPUs and everything else, and I think that's where it kind of dropped off
Yeah.
on that side. And they're dealing with the same thing as all these other big companies. Is it's like, how do we roll out something that works for everybody? And that's always the hardest thing. And I feel like that's why even Copilot, Microsoft did Copilot, and like they're supposed to leverage OpenAI for it. But if you compare OpenAI users to Copilot users, even though Copilot's free, it's not the best on that end. They are winning on a couple ones, like with their GitHub. Their GitHub's actually getting really good when it comes to that. But there's also other competitors too,
Yeah.
at the same time. But it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. And then all these companies have a lot of, like, I think if Google gets really far behind, they have enough money where they may try to fix it with acquisition, which is the
Mhm.
Microsoft play. Like how Microsoft, they didn't buy Inflection. They're like, we'll just hire all their employees. And then
What
and that's
what
because
a move that
everybody's,
was. I like
yeah.
how do you hire away the two co-founders and most of the employees and not get sued into oblivion or at least taken to court? There's got to be a side deal there. I have never seen that kind of sort of pilfering of the intellectual firepower of a company before, because Inflection raised 1.3 billion dollars. It's not like they don't
No,
have
they're
a
not
bunch of
small.
vested investors. So I don't know how they pulled that off, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that'd be an awkward conversation with the investors. Like, yeah, about that. We're going to go with Microsoft, but don't worry, we'll give you a couple employees. I think a lot of the reason was just the whole antitrust and everything, where companies are having issues buying companies right now. So all these big mergers are like how the Figma and Adobe deal got basically pushed under. And I think that was their way of getting around it, where they're like, hey, if we try to do it, we're going to go under federal scrutiny. Let's just
Oh,
let's just go around let's just hire everybody
yeah.
from there and see what happens.
Yeah, that was my instinct, is that it's some sort of 3D chess acquisition that
Yeah.
a year from now the acquisition will be complete, right? Yeah, that's
They just about did it with OpenAI. Like during that whole weekend, that was the craziest weekend ever. Sachin was just ready to take on 300 new employees on that side. That would have worked out crazy for them.
that was nuts. Well, that's what the Inflection guys, that they started that division that Altman and Brockman were going to start. So yeah, that was a fascinating, like, that's one of the things I'm excited to learn about, is once all the new technologies from OpenAI release, where they can actually talk about what happened back in November. That's going to be fascinating, because They talk
Yeah.
about a movie, right?
Oh no, that's what I was thinking in Netflix. That's a 5-parter on Netflix
That's
for
a
sure.
5-part movie for sure. Like, what the hell went down there? And just the drama of, they're gone, they're back, they're gone, they're back. Now they're working for Microsoft. Now they're not working for Microsoft. Like, wow, that was
No,
nuts.
that was crazy. And then we haven't heard from Ilya since then. Oh, it
No, I
overheated
know.
again.
Ilya's, what the problem is? Ilya's got your camera.
Yeah, I know, I guess, right?
He just
Here, I gotta just put my fan on it. That's the downside. You get set up with the DSLR and you think it's going to be great, but then you get all the
Oh,
technical
that's
problems
funny.
of it.
Yeah, see, I'm still on the just turning on my phone. My studio is a phone and a $10 tripod from Amazon.
Hey, you have decent lighting though.
Yeah, my lighting is a little LED strip from IKEA. It's a $10 light, a $10 tripod, and my phone.
Oh man, you honestly you don't need much.
No.
I just overkilled it. A problem is with me is when I get into stuff, I get like I have to be careful what stuff I get into
Yeah.
because next thing I know, it's like even if I'll go out for a bike ride. Next thing I know, I'm calling my wife like, yeah, I'll be home at like 3 a.m. You know, I'm having to Uber back because I just got a little bit too cocky with how far I go.
That's right. You rode into Wisconsin over the Niagara Falls passing.
Yeah, 100%.
That's hilarious.
Nice. So yeah, tell me more about the whole AI Salon, AI Labs. I haven't got too much into it on that side, but I just want to know what you're creating on your side. It's everybody that talks about it says amazing things. So congratulations for one on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the AI Salon's really a remarkable group. So we have meetings every other week. And then we've got a Mighty Network. So if you go to aisalon.mn.co, mightynetworks.co, not .com,
Mhm.
that takes you to the AI Salon. So you should definitely come join. And then, within it, there's all sorts of different areas. Think of the Mighty Networks as kind of like a cross between, it's like Facebook and Discord had a baby, right? So there's conversation areas. We have a show and tell area where people can show off the work they're doing. We've got guilds in 4 different categories: creative, business, tech, and ethics. And there's just all these sub communities within it. We really encourage people to use their real names. One of the things about Discord culture is it's because it came from gaming. It's a lot of anonymous tech bros and things like that. One of the things I feel really passionately about is that we are in the middle of a transition from a future of work perspective, from people hiring because of the skills you had, to people hiring for your aptitude and because they know and trust you. Because the AI is going to do a lot of the skills part. And so you're not just hiring people for their skills anymore. So I think being in community and building trusted relationships in a community like the AI Salon is going to be the future of work. I think that's where hiring goes. So that's it. There's also a thing similar to the early days of the World Wide Web where this stuff is moving so fast that literally no one on the planet has their head around this. So everyone's trying to figure it out. So if you're in a community of people that are all trying to figure it out, you'll get all these different perspectives and you'll learn a lot faster, right? So there's a sort of speed of learning thing that happens, and then the relationship building thing really becomes foundational for where we're headed. So that's the Salon, and it's amazingly generous people. They share what they learn. They're collaborating a lot. They're starting projects together. It's really exciting. And then the AI Learning Lab is really just my TikTok channel. It just started out. I was doing a lot of the similar stuff you were doing, where focusing on products and things like that. And then on April 30th, a year ago, I did my first TikTok live. And here's what I did. I used to come home every night. I have a sim racing rig, and similar to you, like when I go into something, I go into it, right?
Yeah.
So I would come home, and every night I'd have dinner. I'd get home, I'd have dinner, and then I'd sim race for 2 or 3 hours. And as I got into this AI stuff and just really realized, like, listen, I got to put time and focus into this, I thought, what if for the next year, instead of sim racing 2 or 3 hours a night, I went live 2 or 3 hours a night? And so that's what the AI Learning Lab has really become, is just this nightly live jam session. And the biggest surprise, I don't know if you do a lot of lives, but the biggest surprise for me in that is I kind of had a preconception of media as, you produce this content and people consume your media. And what the AI Learning Lab has become is like this interactive jam session where, I'll sort of come in, I have no agenda. Sometimes I'm demoing software. Sometimes we're just, pontificating about what's going on. Sometimes there's a lot of input. Sometimes there's not. But because a lot of the members that show up to the live all the time are also in the salon, I can be talking about stuff or trying stuff, and they're like actually making images and posting them to the salon, and they're like, "Oh, go check out the Irregulars channel." By the way, the people that show up to my live regularly, they nickname themselves the Irregulars. A bunch of them are here right now. Hello, but the Irregulars are just this amazing bunch that they just show up night after night after night because they recognize that this AI stuff, in order to be literate with what's going on, you have to actually be active in the conversation. And so that's what that channel's become, is just like just keep the conversation going, keep playing, keep exploring. And that's the AI Learning Lab. So they really complement one another nicely.
Nice. Oh, that's crazy and great. Giving up sim racing for that, you got to blow the dust off of it at this point, I guess. Anything I could do to help on my side, if you ever want me to jump on a training or anything like that, I'm open for it.
A couple of things. I would love to have you join the salon. And then I think I haven't really explored doing this kind of thing, like doing these joint lives. I like this. I think this was fun. So maybe just on a, regular basis, every, week or two, we just grab an hour and just play. I think that could be good for both of us and good for the audience.
No, 100%. I'd love to do more of these lives. That's one thing I find even about the AI creators is it's actually a really good community on our side, just of creators. Everybody's willing to collaborate. So I'm not sure if you know who Tech Friend is, but I've done a live with him. AI Savvy, Victor. I've tried to do so we've had technical difficulties about 5 times. But I'm feeling optimistic that we're going to get it going eventually. Yeah, it should at some point. But even just like the connections I've made on this side, everybody's been great. And, it's like really on our side, it's just trying to educate people while learning ourselves. That's the whole thing. It's like, I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff. I'm learning and teaching everything I learn. And I find even when I teach, I learn stuff better too at the same time.
Every night. One of my mantras is there are no experts. And if anyone tells you they are an expert, run. Because no one can know what's going on with this stuff right now. Every single night someone will share something or I'll see something that's actually the Deco here stations thing. I didn't know about those, and Danielle, one of the Irregulars, came in and goes, "You know about these stations?" And I was like, "No." And then I went and looked at it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So like a lot of times I'll discover stuff in real time, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of them. They just come in my chat and they're like Tengra AI. I'd never seen it before. I just did a video on it. One of my chatters, because I've been exploring with lives a bit more lately. I did lives for a bit after I sold my agency because I was teaching people how to do affiliate marketing, and I didn't want to teach like 87-year-old Terrence who doesn't know how to use his laptop how to compete in the most competitive thing you can in marketing. And I feel bad. I'm not one of those. I can't push some Ponzi course and be like, "You'll make $1 million." I didn't want to be that person, so I did lives I did about 200 lives over 200 days, and I was just like, I don't really enjoy this, but I do like teaching on my side. And I just would give everybody all the keys for it. I'm like, okay, here's what you do. And no one did anything for it too at the same time. So that's where it was like really the TikTok medium is. And I like the challenge. For me, it's like, can I review a tool in 1 minute? Or even when I do something like a tutorial on like how to use a Stable Diffusion API in 1 minute and 30 seconds, you're just like yelling into the mic, being really quick, and then you're cutting it too at the same time. You're like, okay, sorry guys, you may have to watch this 5 times to get all the information, but it's a personal challenge on that side.
Yeah, that's funny. Chris Bruno, just posted. You can make money with ChatGPT. I've got a little gold button. I'm at work now, but I have it at home. That one of the things that used to drive me nuts is all these TikTokers like, you can make money with ChatGPT. And it's just like, no, don't buy those courses. Just come in here and play. So I'm right there with you. Like, just learn. Just give away the knowledge, because it's moving so fast that the thing that's worth $1,000 today because you've got the proprietary knowledge, it's going to be useless 3 months from now. So might as well just give it away now. So that's where my head is.
No, that's it. And a lot of it is just like, here's how you can be an automated spammer. You know, just
exactly.
spam. You can now make 1,600 phone calls per minute, unsolicited. Good luck. Have fun.
It's so exhausting. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's too much. Or even just we won't tell you the tool, but you have to comment for the tool name. And I'll DM you the tool name, or it'll be something, and they'll overblow the capabilities. Like, this new AI tool is going to replace Hollywood. And, then you go to get to the end of it. It's the most basic tool in the end. It doesn't come near any of that. And you're like, come on. I call it the AI, the AI hype lords. They have great videos for that kind of retention. Even I get motivated. I'm like, yeah, let me check this. This sounds amazing. And then I find out it's something like, oh, it's MidJourney. Okay. That makes sense.
Exactly. So anyway, listen, I got to run. I got another meeting I got to go to, but this was awesome, Matt. Thank you for inviting me. And let's definitely do this again. This was awesome.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. Let's do it again for sure. It was great to meet you. Talking a public forum. If you ever want to connect, let me know. Hit me up via DM. We're connected now, but yeah, maybe even next week we'll do another one.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's figure something out. Maybe we'll do a theme or whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Cheers.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Now I got to figure out how to hang this thing up.
Yeah, no, me too. That's always some awkward part at the end, and then I do it too early. All right. Cheers.
See ya.
And task. Let's go.
All right. There you go, people. Peace out. Good to see you. I'll see you tonight at 8. That was fun. Gotta go. Bye.